Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Millington and I work for IDEX Laboratories where I specialize in the diagnostics of poultry. I also work with the diagnostics of other livestock and companion animals as well as cats and dogs. I'm here to talk to you today about a couple of viruses, the Newcastle disease virus and the infectious bronchitis virus. These are two diseases that infect chickens, and it is very important to have tests for these as they play an important role in the economics of commercial chicken flocks throughout the world. The Newcastle disease virus is an infection in domestic poultry. It's an acute respiratory disease. It's an RNA virus with a high morbidity rate. There's rapid onset. It appears throughout the flock within 2 to 12 days. And the birds have tremors, paralyzed wings and legs, twisted necks, lesions, and or complete paralysis. The infectious bronchitis virus is a highly contagious coronavirus. It is spread by respiratory discharge, feces, ingesting contaminated food and water, contact with contaminated clothing or equipment. The birds pose respiratory problems, swelling, decreased egg production, and poor egg quality. It also causes nephritis, which is swelling of the kidneys. And the morbidity rate for the infectious bronchitis virus is close to 100%. It can wipe out an entire flock within 2 weeks of infection. The diagnosis for NDV and IBV can be isolated from tissues from infected birds by the inoculation of allantoic fluid by the inoculation of the allantoic cavity within a 9 to 11 day old specific pathogen-free embryonic chicken egg. The infection of the birds is confirmed by using testing methods such as the PCR and the ELISA. Can you go back to the other side, please? So this is how I originally started about 6 years ago. I would do this procedure manually to produce the NDV and the IBV viruses. I would look at each egg individually to test for the health, but this is candling the egg here, and I would test for the health to make sure that they can withstand this process of creating this virus. And then I would use a tool similar to it's a Dremel tool, and it's similar to a tool that a dentist would use to puncture a small hole within the egg. And then I would come down with a needle and inoculate the virus into the allantoic cavity within the egg. It's similar to how they produce a flu vaccine. So if you've ever been to the doctor to get your flu shot and they asked you if you're allergic to chickens or chicken eggs, this is why it's a very similar process. And once the eggs are old enough, we do the inoculation, and then we incubate the eggs to allow the viral particles to be formed and released in the allantoic cavity and fluid. This is a really long, strenuous process. It took a lot of my time. I couldn't do a lot of other research or other production because of it. Another part of the process is to harvest the allantoic fluid, and we'd have to use, can you go back to the other side, please? We'd have to use forceps to remove the top of the eggs. And once you do that, you put the pipette down and aspirate the fluid up. We do one egg at a time. There's about 400 to 600 eggs. So it took quite a bit of my time. It was clear that I needed to update my technology as the demand for these two viruses was growing throughout the world. Next slide. So we talked to Reinhardt and purchased a semi-automatic egg inoculator. It does about 36 eggs at a time. You put them on a flat and you put them under this machine here. Press a button and it goes right underneath and inoculates all 36 eggs at once. It's super great technology. It saves so much of my time, and it's also very steady. If by doing it by hand, sometimes you can disturb the egg in the embryo, and the embryo can die from trauma really easily. So if it dies from the trauma, we cannot use the allantoic fluid for the rest of the process. So when we did this manually, we had quite a few eggs that would die just because of certain trauma. So with this equipment, it made it much easier, and there was way less failure rate. Next slide. This is the semi-automatic egg decapper and harvester. The egg decapper is ultimately one of my favorite pieces of equipment, and I won't get into why, but we put the flat of 36 eggs after incubation onto the egg decapper, press a button and a blade will come across and chop off the top of the eggs all at once, all 36 eggs.
I love how you have a favorite instrument, and I love how it's an egg decapper. I think that's fantastic.
It's truly fantastic.
Does anybody have any questions for Sarah before I jump it up? Okay. Did we hear the full reason of why that's your favorite machine, or is there more to tell?
Well, it cuts off a lot of time in what I do. No pun intended there. And it's just fascinating to watch because it doesn't disturb the eggs at all, and you think it would, but it's very quick and very easy and opens up all the top of the eggs for me very quickly.
You mentioned that these diseases they were spreading or growing worldwide. Do we know why that is?
Yeah, they're extremely infectious and they're very contagious. So they can spread from a parent to an egg. It can also spread just through like breathing. It's very similar to like a common cold sometimes, but it's way more detrimental. It'll kill the entire flock. Once one chicken gets it, normally the rest of the chickens in the flock will get it. So if you think of a farm with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chickens, it can wipe out an entire livestock really quickly. It became prevalent not too long ago, and we're noticing at IDEX that it's more and more demand all the time, and it's spreading throughout the world. A lot like swine disease or like SARS and H1N1, things like that. No, this one actually can't go from chickens to humans, thank God. The Newcastle disease is actually a zoonotic, but you don't get the Newcastle. No,
What's
you can
zoonotic?
You can get pink eye from it if you get it into your eyes or things similar to that.
We're going to let Sarah off the hook as well. Thank you.